Every time the man cheated, he had a little trick. He would pick up a normal die with his left hand, while keeping his right hand hidden in his pocket, as if he was holding something. It was an obvious gesture. He wanted the opponent to see it. If someone accused him of cheating, it would play right into his plan. Once the opponent made a public accusation, the man's goal was achieved. His real cheating method would remain undiscovered, because the die he was actually rolling was completely fair. Everything he had done before was just a disguise, meant to lure the other person into falling for his trap. He knew that if the opponent disrupted the game without evidence, his real trick would remain hidden. And now, the man was confident that Kaiji, who was on the other side, would accuse him, because Kaiji had bet a whopping 540,000 this round. Surely, the man thought Kaiji must have discovered his cheating technique, and that's why he risked such a huge bet. But to the man's confusion, even until the last second before the dice settled, Kaiji didn't make a move. He didn't accuse him at all. The man couldn't figure it out. Had he imagined it all? Perhaps Kaiji hadn't even noticed his trick, and had just been reckless with his bet. The usually sharp man began to doubt himself. Finally, he assumed Kaiji was just trying to intimidate him. Infuriated by what he saw as Kaiji's audacity, he decided to make Kaiji lose everything in front of the entire casino. It was the man's last chance to roll, and since it was his final turn, he no longer hid anything. He reached into his pocket with his right hand and pulled out the special dice he used for cheating, and that was when he destroyed everything, because all of this had been part of Kaiji's plan, the opportunity he and his allies had been waiting for. A month ago, Kaiji had been swindled by this man, losing everything, and had even fallen into massive debt. He had no choice but to work tirelessly at the mine to repay it, but fate smiled on Kaiji. He discovered the man's cheating method. To defeat him completely, Kaiji gathered a team of people who had suffered the same way. They pooled their wages together, entrusting Kaiji to manage daily expenses strictly, without any extra spending, no gambling. 4 months, they worked hard and saved enough 540,000. They were ready to execute their plan. After all that effort, their debts were cleared. They couldn't simply expose the man's cheating, though. He was too cunning. If they challenged him openly, they'd be suspected. Kaiji spent every day in a corner, watching the man's gaze. Sure enough, the man tried to intimidate them by inviting them to gamble. Kaiji made his own demands.
いいのかよ。俺が行くとなったら遊びじゃなくなる。張らせてもらうぜ。
The man, confident in his skills, wasn't afraid. What was once a 20,000 bet limit suddenly had no ceiling. He thought he could win even more, and that Kaiji had just helped him achieve that. He didn't expect to fail so completely. Kaiji put everything on the line to change his fate. Word spread, and people came to watch. When it was Kaiji's turn to roll, he refused. His goal wasn't to win. It was to make the man lose while acting as the dealer. The man's lackeys volunteered to take over as dealer, even though he knew the other side would cheat. He kept his bet to just 20,000 to avoid revealing himself. As expected, the man rolled 4, 5, and 6, winning double the prize. Next, Kaiji rolled. And got only a 2. The crowd laughed, thinking, so that's all he's got? Facing their ridicule, Kaiji only bet 1,000 on the next roll. The man's lackeys didn't cheat, so Kaiji ultimately won the round. Everyone watching gradually lost interest and left. Meanwhile, the man was tricked. When he was acting as the dealer, he demanded Kaiji leave the game, mocking his small bets, claiming he wasn't worthy to compete. And that was exactly the opening Kaiji had